What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of Last Window. Last time we had finished Chapter 3 with the summary, and we learned that Marie is potentially a fraudster, and somehow Kyle's father knows about the Scarlet Star. On December 21st, Sunday morning, I wake up suddenly again. As soon as I open my eyes, I can hear my mom's voice echoing in my head. Last night on the phone, she said, "Scarlet Star?" No, I never heard your father say that. Still half asleep, I get out of bed, wash my face, and throw on some clothes. I decide to take a stroll to a small park I know 2 blocks from here. The chill air that breezes past me as I sit on the cold bench is kind of refreshing. It definitely helps to wake me up a little more. Item: locate the Scarlet Star, which disappeared at Hotel Cape West 25 years ago. No matter how hard I try, I just can't get that mysterious order sheet out of my head. I think it's about time I checked out the 4th floor. Mr. Hyde, hold it right there. Betty? Are you ignoring me, Mr. Hyde? I was walking behind you for ages. I tried calling out to you several times, but you wouldn't even turn around. Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. Looks like you're not as alert as it used to be, Kyle. Maybe there was some truth in what Breck said after all. So, have you found a new place to live yet? Haven't even started looking. You're taking it very easy for someone who will be out on the streets shortly. How about you? When do you plan on moving out? I'm all set to go on Friday. I'll be here for Christmas, though. After all, I wouldn't want to miss Santa now, would I? If I moved away before that, how would he know where to deliver all my presents? Are you kidding me? Tony's such a nice guy. He said he'd be my Santa this year. He what? I know, isn't it great? He even said he'd get me the Bella Regina handbag I've been dreaming about. Bella Regina? That a person or something? Come on, Mr. Hyde. Everyone knows Bella Regina. It's the brand that's taking the world by storm. Clothes, handbags, that brand has everything a girl could want. The prices are a bit high, but it's also gorgeous. And you seriously think Tony's gonna come through and get this for you? Sure, he keeps saying how he's gonna be getting some serious cash any day now. Him? After seeing a movie last night, he asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I thought it would be rude not to accept his offer to get me something. I hope you know what you're getting yourself into, Betty. He set his sights on you. You shouldn't lead him on if you don't care about him. You don't have to worry about me, Mr. Hyde. Tony knows all too well that he's not my type. Oh, did you hear the news? About the jewelry robbery that happened nearby. Yeah, I heard. It happened at a jeweler's very near where I work. I couldn't believe it when I heard. That reminds me, I wonder who that woman in the hat was. Maybe she was paying a visit to one of the tenants. Hey Betty, did you see a woman wearing a hat hanging around Thursday night? She might have been visiting someone living here. A woman wearing a hat. Can't say I did, sorry. Never mind then. Okay, see you later, Mr. Hyde. Betty says goodbye and makes her way up the stairs. Greetings, Mr. Hyde. Good morning, Mrs. Patrice. Have you been out? Just went for a short stroll. Really, is that so? I'm glad I caught you. I wanted to thank you again for settling your rent. It may not have been as prompt as desired, but at least I got the money in full. If only some of the others could follow your example and do the same. Miss Riverton 206, for example. She called to ask if I would wait a little longer. And Mr. Wolf, well, he's performed his usual disappearing act. I mean, this is the busiest I've ever been since coming here. And having unreliable tenants is a burden I'd rather not have to bear. Yeah, I imagine it is a pain. It certainly is, Mr. Hyde. Oh, by the way, there's something I have to mention. What is it? Before we vacate the building, we'll be cutting the power to rooms that aren't in use. The 4th floor is scheduled first. It'll have no power as of the 25th. The power to the hallway will be off too, and I'd like you to refrain from going there. Mrs. Patrice, can I ask you something? That depends. What's it about? Would it be possible to see the rooms up there before the power's cut off? And why would you want to do that, Mr. Hyde? Do you have a valid reason? Not really, just want to satisfy my curiosity. There really is nothing of interest up there. It was never renovated like the other floors, so it's just as it used to be. I imagine that by now the rooms are literally covered in dust as well. Surely there's no reason why you need to go and see those rooms. Actually, I've been wanting to take a look around up there since moving in. When I heard we'd all be moving out, I just thought this would be my last chance. I know it must sound strange, but I'd really like to take a look around. Would you make an exception just this once? I'm sorry, Mr. Hyde, that area is off limits for a reason. It's in a state of disrepair, and if an accident were to befall you, I'd be responsible. Don't cause any unnecessary trouble for me. I have enough to deal with as it is. Yes, of course you do. In fact, I'd be grateful if you could avoid mentioning this again. The 4th floor is strictly off limits to tenants. That's one of the reasons the fire door was installed. Actually, I've been told rather specifically to leave that floor untouched. The new owners were quite clear about their wishes. Personally, I find it ridiculous. Why would you want to see those rooms at all? Okay, point taken. Just keeping them off limits takes more effort than you may think. It would have been far more practical to have converted them along with the rest. What kind of person is the new owner? Without divulging any particulars, let me tell you this. They weren't only interested in the building, but in the land as well. Can you tell me who bought it? For obvious reasons, I can't reveal the person's name. But why are you so keen to know about them, Mr. Hyde? I've been thinking about the whole thing. Why is it so important to you? The new owner asked you to leave the 4th floor as it is. But if they're only going to tear the place down, well, something didn't feel right about that, so I was curious. I see. It may be strange, but it's entirely up to them what they want to do with their property. Why was the 4th floor not converted? I simply couldn't afford it. After my husband passed away, I was left to fend for myself. I had to use all the money that had been left to me to buy this place. There simply wasn't enough to convert each and every room. If the truth be known, times were very tough here at the beginning. I apologize for taking up so much of your time with our chat, Mr. Hyde. I'll be on my way now. Mags returns to her room. So the 4th floor is just as it was 13 years ago. Oh, it's you. Can I ask you something? You better not be wasting my time. You want to see what's up on the 4th floor, right? I can show you. But you've got to promise me you won't breathe a word of it to Mrs. Patrice. Were you eavesdropping just now? I wasn't dropping no eaves. I just happened to overhear your conversation. Anyway, if you really want to take a look up around on the 4th floor, I can open the fire door for you and let you in. On one condition, though. I want to hear about that guy. Could you be a little more specific? Rex, I want you to tell me about him. And I thought I was the curious type. I'm not an information service, you know. Why do you want to know about him? Why? Because I'm curious, that's all. He's been snooping around here for 2 or 3 days now. He even asked me for some information about a second-floor resident. Dylan! I thought I warned you to steer clear of him. He's bad news. But, Mr. Hyde, if he's such bad news, why did you speak with him in the lobby last night? How did he... So you were listening in then too, were you? No, I was just in the right place at the right time. I was coming down the stairs and heard voices in the lobby. So you managed to discover that he's an insurance investigator then? What if I did? And you also figured out that he's been targeting a woman living there. Maybe. You don't have to cover it up, I know what's going on. It's Marie from 206. That's who he's after. I'm right, aren't I? You can tell me. Dylan, look. I'm assuming it's fine to say. Suppose you overheard that too. Yeah, kind of. Do you think this is some kind of game? I thought so. Looks like I was right on the money this time. Stop jumping to conclusions. Take it easy, there's no need to get worked up or anything. I'm getting a little tired of your bull, Dylan. Speaking to you is just a waste of my time and energy. That's a little strong, Mr. Hyde. I'm out of here. Hang on, what was up with Dylan just now? So that guy's been after Marie from 206. I'm right, aren't I? You can tell me. Why is Dylan so interested in Marie? Hey, I'm trying to turn around, okay? Jeez. Let's go. You got a moment? What can I do for you? Why are you so interested in Marie anyway? Well, I wanted to make sure. You know, check if my assumptions were correct. And what exactly are your assumptions? For one, that Marie isn't the person everyone thinks she is. There's something you should know, Mr. Hyde. I knew Marie before she moved in here. That's why I'm curious about her activities. How did you know her before moving in here? It's like this. When her husband was still alive, I did some repair work on the water pipes in the house they used to live in. Seems she doesn't remember me at all, though. My suspicions were raised even way back then. I had a strange feeling about her. What do you mean? You see, she and her husband had a really bad relationship. When I was fixing the pipes, they were quarreling almost all the time. Then, 6 months later, her husband winds up dead. That's about the time the insurance company began looking into her. I'm almost afraid to say it, but I think that Marie may have had her husband murdered to claim the insurance money. So that's what you've been thinking about. Yeah? You seem to be the kind of guy who likes to unravel mysteries. Do I? That explains why you were excited when you discovered I was a detective. Then, when you got wind of Marie's husband's dying, you jumped to the conclusion that she must have murdered him in order to claim the insurance money. It's true I love this kind of thing. You have to admit it's fun to uncover a secret about somebody. If you come with me, Mr. Hyde, I'll let you take a look around the 4th floor. If you're serious about wanting to check out those rooms, Meet me up there at 4 this afternoon, okay? I got things to do. That guy has some serious problems, but I don't want to miss this chance. Gotta get myself up to the 4th floor by 4. That's easy to remember. 4 by 4. I'd better get back to my room. Ba-da-da-ba-bow. Ba-ba-ba-bow. Time to call Rachel. The light on my answer phone is lit. I hear a man's voice on the tape. I don't recognize him. If you wish to accept my order, then respond in kind. Who is this guy? Put a penny in the envelope and leave it in the mailbox for room 404. When I receive your response, I will send further information about the item and the client. So now I'm supposed to reply to that order sheet. Who sent it? I really gotta figure that out. There goes my pager again. I get the message, Rachel. I'll give you a call. Red Crown, how may I help? Rachel, it's me. Something up? I got some additional info on Rex that I thought you'd like to hear. I also uncovered something about Hotel Cape West. Good work. What's the dirt on Rex? I made some calls and it seems his reputation precedes him. He's definitely freelance. Plus I found out he's contracted on a commission basis. Commission basis? Yes. Seems he makes all his money doing this kind of work. The rumors about him getting brought in to investigate insurance claims. And the insurers ending up not having to issue a payout to the policyholders are also true. Guess the insurance companies must love the guy then. From their point of view, he represents a very valuable commodity. Paying him for his services cost them far less than settling his the policy payouts. That makes sense. Hey Kyle, is Rex after someone in the building? Seems to be. Do you know anything about them? It's a woman on the same floor as me, going by the name Marie Rivet. So it's a woman he's after. Yeah, a 30-something widow who moved here about half a year ago. So, are you close to her? Not really. I've hardly even spoken to her until now. I did have a chat with her about Rex, though. Him hanging around all the time has really put her on edge. Seems strange you're having these kinds of discussions with people you hardly know. Trust me, I never planned on getting involved. It just kinda happened. Guess you know what you're doing. Can't say I trust her, though. Right, okay. Tell me what you dug up on Hotel Cape West. Hotel Cape West was constructed in 1950. And eventually closed down 13 years ago in 1967. The owner of the hotel at the time was a guy called Michael McGrath. Then, on the final day before the hotel closed down, a party was held by the owner. It was during this party that something terrible happened. Somebody was murdered. What do you know about the murder? The victim was Kathy McGrath, the owner's wife. Her body was discovered in a room on the 4th floor. Seems the cause of death was put down to cyanide poisoning. The person who discovered the body was a man named Peter Rivet, a hotel employee. That's the same surname as Marie. Perhaps the most interesting part of all this is that the case was never solved. and the murderer never caught. That's all I have on it for now. Did you find any dirt on anything that happened 25 years ago? That mysterious order sheet I received read, "Locate the Scarlet Star, which disappeared at Hotel Cape West 25 years ago." No, I didn't find anything on that, but I'll start searching. I'll let you know as soon as something pops up. I'll be waiting. So the murder 13 years ago took place on the 4th floor of this building. And the person who discovered the body was an employee of the hotel. Sounds too convenient, but could it have been Marie's late husband? Something Dylon said has got me thinking too. Maybe Marie's hiding something. If she is, I need to know exactly what it is. Alright, so I'm guessing I need to go talk to Marie. Who, if I recall, is in 206. What is it, Mr. Hyde? I think I know something about the bugging device we discussed. Probably a good idea if we talked about it. Of course, please come in. Marie, I found out that the device you spotted is part of Rex's handiwork. Just as I suspected. To make matters worse, this wasn't the only one he'd planted. There was another device in Lucky's cafe near the seat you usually sit at. Oh my. Why would he do something like that? What possible reason could he have? Marie, I need you to be absolutely honest with me. If you could think of a reason why he'd be after you, you have to let me know. Just what are you implying, Mr. Hyde? That I'm some sort of liar? I just need to be sure. Do you have any idea? Can you think why he'd target you like this? I don't know why you insist on asking me the same thing over and over. I have no idea. I'm asking because I want you to tell me the truth. Someone told me that you and your late husband weren't on the best of terms. I think you're hiding something, Marie, and I think it's time you came clean. I had an interesting chat with Rex last night. You were talking with him? Yeah. I tried to get him to stop pestering you and leave. Did you succeed? Not quite, but he told me some really interesting bits of information. He warned me about getting tied up in your business. What on earth did he mean by that? He seems to be convinced that you're perpetrating some kind of insurance fraud. So tell me, did you know that he works as an insurance claims investigator? And if you did know, why the hell did you mention it earlier? It would have saved a lot of time and trouble. Marie, is there any truth in what he told me? Well? Marie? Look me in the eyes! Look me in the eyes! Mr. Hyde, please tell me what that awful man said to you. Let me be clear, I don't trust the guy and sure as hell don't believe his story entirely. But I need to get a better idea of the facts from your perspective. I need to know more about when your husband and brother died. Mr. Hyde, please. I'm not trying to commit fraud. Rex told me all about you, Marie. He told me how, 13 years ago, after your brother died in the accident, you became the sole beneficiary of the insurance policy payout. Seems the insurance company started getting suspicious from that point. That's a total lie. Is Rex making all this up? Of course he is. Do you mean to say that you'd take his version of events over mine, Mr. Hyde? He is employed by those companies purely to discredit claims and void payments. I can just imagine all the horrible things he's saying about me. I'm not like that. I was already dragged through all this 13 years ago. Are you trying to commit insurance fraud? Why would I even consider doing that? Is that the kind of person you think I am? Well, no, but... if you don't start giving me absolute facts, what choice will I be left with? Naturally, I want you to believe me, Mr. Hyde. And I'd like to tell you everything, but part of it is very difficult for me. This already happened 13 years ago. My brother, Mike Porter, died in a car accident. The brakes in his car failed and he plunged off a cliff. After he died, I was truly alone. He was the closest person I had to a parent. The only other person who took care of me like he did was Peter. On the morning of Mike's funeral, Peter gave me an envelope he got from Mike. Inside, I found details of an insurance premium Mike had taken out prior to his death. I was the sole beneficiary of this, but it was a small comfort for losing my brother. Peter told me that Mike wanted nothing more than for me to be happy and secure, and had made provisions that would enable me to live alone without having to worry. The ring you kindly found for me was a present from my beloved Mike. The company that held Mike's policy began to pay out the premium, but before long they stopped making the payments, despite the police investigation concluding that its death was accidental. The insurance company believed otherwise and began their own investigation. Mr. Hyde, can you imagine the hardships I had to endure to claim Mike's money? To claim what was rightfully mine? Did they send someone to keep tabs on you then? Yes, they did. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find any proof that the car crash was anything other than an accident. Eventually, I received the entire payment. Of course, there were still plenty of people who doubted me, but I had just had to endure it. During that trying time, it was only Mike's friend Peter who stood by me. And after the insurance had been paid out in full, Peter and I got married. So that's how it happened. I want nothing more than to forget that terrible time. But even when I feel I've finally put it all behind me, this happens. I can assure you, Mr. Hyde, fraud is something I would never ever consider. You have to believe me. Don't listen to the rat, Rex Foster. You have to make me believe. It just doesn't add up. How could two people close to you die in near identical ways? Moreover, they both left you substantial sums of money. But that's how it happened. They were both victims of similar accidents, and both cared for me enough to take out insurance policies that would ensure my security. They loved me and didn't want me to suffer, even after they had gone. Just like my brother Peter also took out his policy without telling me. I honestly had no idea that I would receive a further payout after Peter died. God, this just keeps going. What could be so difficult for you? If I tell you, will you hear me out? I wouldn't ask if I had no intention of listening. If there's something you've been holding back, now's the time to let me know. There is something, as I suspected. You're right. Half a year ago, after Peter had lost his life and the police called me, naturally I cried and cried, but deep down, a part of me felt like I had been released. The only rational explanation was that I was feeling pleased to be apart from Peter. How did you find out about Peter's policy? It was after he died that I moved here. I was going through his stuff and came across the policy information documents. When I read the details, it all became clear and I froze. Peter had done exactly what Mike had done before him and taken out a policy in secret. Mr. Hyde, after Mike died 13 years ago, I was left to fend for myself. That is until Peter started looking after me. We wed after the insurance money from Mike's policy was paid out, but I was still unsettled. Did he really love me, or did he have another motive for marrying me? After all, I had just been awarded a very substantial amount of money. It was on my mind all the time from the moment we moved in together until he died. After we got married, Peter began to use Mike's money to fund a business venture. At first it went well, but As time went on, things took a turn for the worse. We started arguing about the money a lot of the time. Each time we had an argument, I felt myself drifting away, from him one step at a time. If I'd known from the start that he had his eye on the money Mike left me, I would have distanced myself from him more. It would have been an easy decision. I would have realized that this was not the kind of person I needed in my life. The most ironic part of this whole story is, before I could discuss this with Peter, he was gone. The brakes failed while he was driving and his car plunged off a cliff. It was virtually identical to what befell my brother Mike. They had one thing in common. They both decided to take out secret insurance policies. And they both named me as the person to receive the money. That's why I'm being investigated. I've told them time and time again. I've done absolutely nothing wrong. So you say. So say we all. I've still got one more thing I want to ask you, Marie. It's about the incident that happened in the hotel 13 years ago. Why'd you pretend you didn't know about it when we spoke? Especially seeing as your own husband, Peter, was the one who discovered the body of the murdered individual. It's true, he was the person who discovered the body on the 4th floor. But he wasn't alone. Mike was there with him. They discovered the body together. I'm sorry I lied to you about this yesterday, Mr. Hyde. I just wasn't ready to talk about the subject. So what happened? After discovering the body, Mike wasn't the same. He began to act strangely. The next thing I knew, he had died in a car accident. I strongly believe that, had he never made that discovery, he'd still be alive today. Mr. Hyde? Now you know pretty much all there is to know about my past. Please don't make me go through it all again. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I'm tougher than I look. Why do I have the feeling I've heard that somewhere before? Right, it was after Dad died and we had moved to New York. My mom said exactly the same thing to me. Try not to spend too much time thinking about it. Remember, we've only got a few more days in this building. If you find you need to get anything off your chest, give me a call. You'll listen to what I have to say? Yeah, sure, if you need to talk to someone. Marie, I know this is tough, but can I ask you one more thing? Did either Peter or Mike ever have a conversation with you that mentioned Scarlet Star? Well, they mentioned the word star, I think. If I recall correctly, it was while they were working. I distinctly remember that word being mentioned. My brother and husband used the word along with others working in the hotel. Do you remember what kind of meeting it had? It was sort of secret code, linked to the closing down party. What kind of party was it? Sorry, but that's something I can't help you with. That's all I can remember. Okay, no problem. Anyway, I gotta go. Of course. Marie's husband and brother both seem to be connected to the incident. Also, the word star that was used by hotel staff then has some significance. Maybe that mysterious order sheet comes from someone connected to the hotel. I can't figure out who sent it yet, but I can send back a response. I reach into the envelope and take out a piece of paper. I now have an empty envelope. I fold the order sheet and slide it into my pocket. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been over 30 minutes, so I'd like to end this video here, and next time we'll go ahead and put the penny in the envelope and put it into the room, so stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!